Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really digging into the world of freelancing.
Yeah, it's a huge topic. Lots of talk about it being the future of work, but what's actually happening on the ground.
Exactly. And we've got a great source to help us figure that out, the Freelancer Study 2025 from FreelancerMap.
Right, they surveyed, over 3,500 freelancers and self-employed people internationally, so it's pretty comprehensive.
It really is. And our goal here is, to pull out the most important bits for you, our listener. We want to give you a clear picture of the freelance scene right now.
Consider this your shortcut. We'll cover the key insights, who freelancers are, why they do it, the money side, challenges, future trends, all that stuff.
Okay, perfect. The study covers working conditions, pay, how they get clients, satisfaction, the hurdles, even what companies think. Let's jump in. Who are today's freelancers based on this study?
Well, demographically, it leans heavily male, about 84%.
Wow, that's quite skewed.
It is. Women are at 16%.
Hmm.
The average age is around 46, but the range is massive, like 18 to 80.
So all stages of career, really.
Pretty much. And education-wise, they're highly qualified. 81% have a university degree.
Interesting. And where are they mostly based?
Geographically, it's overwhelmingly European, 95%. Then you've got Asia and America, each at about 2%, and Africa at 1%. So have a very Eurocentric sample in this particular study.
Got it. What about experience? Are these mostly newcomers or veterans?
Definitely leans towards experience. Over half, 54%, are senior experts with more than 10 years behind them.
Okay.
Then you have junior experts, that's 5 to 10 years experience, making up 32%. And young professionals, less than 5 years, are about 11%.
So it seems many people might transition to freelancing after building a solid career foundation.
That seems plausible, yeah. They bring that deep expertise. And most are doing it full-time, about 80%.
And the rest, part-time.
Yeah, 11% are part-time freelancers, and another 9% are actually entrepreneurs who also have their own employees.
Right, right. And what fields are they typically working in? You mentioned expertise.
The biggest chunk, 29%, is in development, tech, data, IT infrastructure, engineering, that whole tech sphere.
No surprise there.
Not really.
Yeah.
Then consulting and management is huge too at 28%. Marketing and communication is 13%. Graphics, content, media is 9%. And SAP expertise is 6%.
SAP, yeah, the big enterprise software. Makes sense. That's a specialized freelance niche.
Absolutely. In terms of what they do for clients, most, 62%, handle both strategy and implementation.
So it's end-to-end.
Exactly. Then 28% focus just on the implementation side, and 10% are purely strategic.
Okay, that paints a clearer picture. So why do people choose this route? What's the big draw? We hear about independence, but what does the data say?
Independence is number one, absolutely. 54% cited that.
Yeah.
Being your own boss.
The classic reason.
Yep, but close behind is better income potential. 49% mentioned that. And flexible time management is key for 32%.
Control over your schedule.
Right. And then you have things like professional challenge, variety of work, that's 19%, and remote work capability at 11%.
Interesting that remote work isn't higher, actually.
It is, yeah. Maybe it's becoming more of an expectation across the board.
Oh.
Also, escaping bad bosses or companies was a factor for 7%, and just seizing a good market opportunity for 6%.
So a mix of push and pull factors. It sounds appealing, but we know it's not all smooth sailing. What are the main challenges they run into?
Oh, definitely. Despite high satisfaction, 81% are satisfied or very satisfied, and 85% would do it again.
That's a strong endorsement.
Really is. Only 2% wouldn't, but the challenges are significant. Top of the list for 58% is project acquisition, finding the work consistently.
The feast or famine cycle.
Pretty much. Then getting paid on time, late payments, played 45%. That's a huge stressor.
I can imagine. Cash flow is everything.
Totally. Time management is tough for 39%, dealing with fluctuating income for 35%, and work-life balance, that's a challenge for 25%.
Still chasing that balance, even with flexibility.
Yeah, the lines can blur easily. Plus, the weight of personal responsibility, planning uncertainty, potential isolation, irregular hours, those all come up too. It takes a certain kind of discipline, doesn't it?
Yes.
What about the actual workload? How many hours are we talking?
The average is about 40 hours per week, billable hours. But then they spend an extra 5 hours on average doing non-billable stuff.
Like finding the next project, admin.
Exactly. Acquisition, admin, marketing yourself. So it's more like a 45-hour week. In reality, for many, about 43% work between 39 and 40 billable hours.
Okay. And do they take vacations?
They do. The average is 26 vacation days per year, which is, fairly standard compared to employees in many places.
That's good to hear. And they need a financial cushion starting out, right?
Yes. The recommendation from freelancers themselves is to have around 24,900 euros saved up as startup capital.
A solid buffer. Okay, let's talk money. The rates. What's the average hourly rate looking like?
For 2025, the average reported is €100 per hour.
100. Nice round number.
And it's been climbing steadily. It was €90 back in 2021, €98 in 2024, so there's an upward trend.
And how do they decide on that rate? Is it just plucked out of thin air? Not usually. The vast majority, 80%, base it on the market value for their skills.
Makes sense. Supply and demand.
Right. And 73% actually recommend setting fair rates right from the start. Don't undersell yourself.
Good advice. What else influences the rate?
Well, 12% look at their last charged rate. Only about 2% rely on client requirements. And another 2% use those online hourly rate calculators. Current costs are a factor for just 1%.
So market rate is king. Are they planning to raise rates soon?
Seems like it. 41% plan to increase their rates in the next 12 months.
Why that inflation?
That's part of it, yeah. Inflation, gaining more experience, trying to match the market better, the general economic climate, getting new qualifications, and just higher demand for their specific skills.
So lots of reasons pushing rates up. Almost no one plans to lower them.
Only 1% said they plan to reduce rates, so the pressure is definitely upwards.
Okay, €400 an hour on average. What does that translate to monthly?
The average gross monthly income from project work specifically was reported at $7,498.
So around $7,500 gross per month.
On average, yes. But the overall annual gross revenue for 2024 shows a huge range.
How so?
Well, 21% earned less than $50,000 for the whole year, but then another 21% earned more than $175,000.
Wow, that's a massive difference. Really highlights the variability.
It absolutely does. It's not one monolithic income bracket.
And are people happy with what they're earning generally?
It's somewhat split. 67%, so about 2/3, are satisfied with their income.
Which means a third aren't.
Right, 33% are dissatisfied. And that satisfaction level can really vary depending on, their field and the industry they serve.
And unfortunately, is there still a gender pay gap?
Yes, there is. Women in the study reported earning on average 7% less per hour than men.
Okay, what are the actual numbers?
Women's average hourly rate was 95 compared to 102 for men.
So a 7 difference per hour on average.
Exactly. The gap has narrowed slightly from the previous year's study where it was 8%, but it's definitely still present.
Still work to do there. Managing finances must be different too without a regular salary. Any tips from the study?
Absolutely critical. Irregular cash flow means you need a much more fundamental approach than salaried employees.
Like what?
Key things are definitely have a separate business bank account. That's basic but crucial.
Keep it separate. Got it.
Save more. Have a bigger buffer for unexpected costs or quiet periods, and professionalize your financial management early on. Think about retirement planning from day one. Things like setting up ETF savings plans.
ETFs. Explain that quickly.
Oh, sure. Exchange-traded funds. Basically, they let you invest in a whole basket of stocks or bonds easily, so it's diversified. A good option when you're managing your own retirement pot.
Right. Good advice. Okay, shifting gears, how do freelancers actually get these projects? Where does the work come from?
It's a mix. Specialized online platforms are pretty effective. 57% of companies actually said they search for freelancers there.
So those platforms like FreelancerMap itself, Upwork, etc., they work.
They seem to be a major channel, yeah. But recommendations are also huge. 43% of companies rely on word of mouth, and social networks like LinkedIn are used by 39%.
So networking, both online and offline, is key.
Absolutely crucial. Interestingly, though, when you ask freelancers how they get projects, passive recruiting is more common.
What do you mean by passive?
Like getting work through referrals from existing clients or getting follow-up projects from people they've worked with before. That accounts for 62% of how they secure work.
Ah, so repeat business and reputation are really driving it.
More so than actively chasing down brand new clients, which accounts for the other 38%. Building relationships pays off.
That makes a lot of sense. How many projects are they juggling typically?
Most, 64%, complete between 2 and 5 projects per year.
Okay, so not dozens and dozens. More focused engagements, maybe.
It seems that way for the majority.
Yep.
And workload-wise, 58% work with several clients simultaneously.
Juggling multiple things.
Yeah, while the other 42% prefer to focus on just one client or project at a time.
And how much work are companies giving them?
The study found companies commission freelancers for about 80 days per year, on average. And companies expect that number might actually go up.
So more integration of freelancers into company workflows.
Seems like it. And success really hinges on strategy from both sides. Companies need to know what skills they need and how to integrate freelancers.
And freelancers need to know how to plug into those companies effectively.
Exactly. And freelancers themselves advise caution. 32% say don't take on too many projects at once, avoid overload.
Smart. Burnout is real. Why do they turn down projects?
Top reason, no capacity. 76% say that, just too busy.
Makes sense.
Also the project not fitting their skills, 71%. Or the rate being too low, 56%. And interestingly, 42% have turned down work because remote work wasn't an option.
So flexibility is a deal breaker for many. Okay, let's touch on the political side. The study mentions the political landscape. Sounds like freelancers have some concerns.
They definitely do. Nearly half, 48%, feel they're at a disadvantage compared to traditional employees.
In what ways?
Well, there's significant worry about retirement. 49% are concerned about their financial situation later in life. And a huge majority, 76%, think politics isn't setting the right framework for them.
What are the specific systemic issues they point to?
Big concerns are around false self-employment, that gray area, where someone might be treated like a freelancer but work like an employee without the benefits. That worries 59%.
The misclassification issue.
Right. Then there's pension planning difficulties, 49%, the burden of bureaucracy, 54%, taxation complexities, 45%, and the lack of social safety nets, 43%.
So structural disadvantages, what do they want done about it?
There's strong agreement, actually, between freelancers and companies on needing clearer rules about false self-employment. 79% on both sides want that.
That's quite aligned.
It is. Companies also want reduced bureaucracy, 43%, and more flexible VAT rules, 39%, especially for hiring internationally. That gets complicated. Simplified registration and easing the tax burden are also mentioned.
So a call for clearer, simpler, more supportive regulations. Okay, let's look ahead. The future of work. Is freelancing the future?
Well, opinions are a bit divided, but nearly half, 48%, do see freelancing as a key part of the future. They point to flexibility, companies wanting more agile teams, and workers wanting more autonomy. But 13% disagree. They think permanent jobs will remain the core model.
And what about technology, AI specifically?
AI is huge, really huge. 77% of freelancers surveyed are already using AI tools.
77%, that's massive adoption. What are they using it for?
All sorts of things. Client communication, creating content, project management, coding assistance, even generating invoices. It's becoming embedded in their workflow.
Are they telling clients they're using AI?
A good chunk are 43% inform their clients, and most, 66%, plan to actively improve their AI skills further. They see it as essential.
So AI is definitely not just hype in this space.
No.
What other tech is seen as important?
Automation tools in general are mentioned by 36%. And for the tech-focused freelancers, the key programming languages expected to stay relevant are Python, 36%, JavaScript, 30%, and SQL, 25%.
Good pointers for skill development. What about company hiring plans for 2025? Where's the demand likely to be?
High demand is expected in IT infrastructure, development tech data roles, marketing communication, and consulting management. Those seem to be the hot areas.
But what's the overall feeling about the freelance market next year? Optimistic.
It's a bit more cautious than last year, actually. It's split. 36% expect improvement, but another 36% expect things to stay about the same, and 28% actually expect the market to deteriorate.
So less bullish than before, maybe some economic uncertainty creeping in?
Could be. It reflects a more tempered outlook.
What qualities will freelancers need most going forward in this evolving landscape?
The study points to core things. Deep expertise, definitely. Confidence, flexibility is key. A focus on innovation, and just general adaptability. These really align with the freelancer model, don't they?
You really do, being able to pivot and learn constantly.
Exactly. And there's this expectation that the lines between traditional jobs and freelancing will just keep getting blurrier. More hybrid models, perhaps.
It's a really dynamic picture. Okay, as we wrap up this deep dive on the Freelancer Study 2025, what are the main takeaways for you?
I think it's clear freelancing is, a really important and growing part of how we work.
Yeah.
It offers that independence, that chance to leverage deep skills.
But it's not easy.
Not at all. The challenges around income stability, the admin load, keeping skills sharp, especially with AI coming on so strong, those are very real and require constant effort.
Absolutely. And hopefully for you, the learner, this discussion has illuminated those different facets, the why, the how much, and the what's next to freelancing. It really drives home how vital planning, continuous learning, especially AI now, and understanding the bigger picture are.
Yeah, and it leaves us with a thought, doesn't it, for everyone listening? When you hear about these trends, these challenges, these opportunities in the future of work,
Hmm.
what parts really resonate with you? Are you thinking maybe about bringing some freelance-style flexibility or autonomy into your own work or your business? And maybe what's one step you could take to get ready for this changing world of work?
It really comes down to adaptability, doesn't it? And that commitment to keep learning.